Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Chen Yang here, and I hope you guys are doing well. So in today's video, just wanted to go through my kind of journaling tips. So a lot of you guys have asked on Instagram, like, how do I do my journaling? What has helped me? So I kind of just wanted to break it down for you guys here, but also to kind of talk about the unrealistic expectations that some people have towards like journaling, and I think also expectations I had on myself, and hence why I never really got into it until now. I also wanted to go through then how to essentially mentally reset, because I think many of us will go through phases in our life where mentally we're a bit unstable right now. I'm not feeling, the best, I would say. And I'm feeling a bit sensitive, things are just feeling a bit harder than usual. And I think that's when we just need to kind of realize that we just need a bit of a mental reset to look at the small things we're doing on a daily basis and to just make small tweaks here and there that can really benefit us. At least things that I have found really have helped me get through those phases, because honestly, the past few months have been a lot of just internal work, resetting, kind of finding what I want out of life, like a lot of kind of like existential crises. And I think, a lot of us will go through that at this age because we are in that kind of self-discovery phase, right? And I think actually we'll go through it regardless of our age, because I think life is always going to be like a journey of just self-discovery. Like you learn more and more about yourself every day, and that's not limited by time, right? Like you could be 50 and you could like wake up one day and be like, holy crap, like that's what I've always wanted to do, right? So it's not limited by your age. And I think it's so just like, I think we kind of need to normalize the fact that it's okay to go through those crises, but to understand how can we reset ourselves, how can we just make sure that, our mental health is okay, and that we're really looking after ourselves. So that is what we're going to go through today. So first off, with journaling, I think one thing we need to kind of look at is actually like, when do you really need it? When do you want to do it? And what are kind of your current expectations around it? Because one thing that always threw me off was like, I had this like expectation that, oh, if I was to be someone who journaled, I have to do that every single day, like every morning or every night. I had to write out like how my day was going, like dear diary, this and that. I had to have like some real deep thoughts, or like I have to have a lot going on in my life to be journaling every day. And because I could never be consistent every day, and I tried for like a week and then I'd fall off track, I never touched a journal again. So I think it's about you asking yourself, like, do you have kind of unrealistic expectations towards journaling? Because it shouldn't be a task that you have to do, or like another sort of like thing you tick off, right? Like it should be something to help you. And I think when you kind of make it almost into a chore, like I have to do, it doesn't really give you the benefits it should be giving you. Now, another thing I want us to kind of realize is there is no right or wrong way with journaling. So I think I got asked this question, like, how do you journal? Like, what do you do with journaling? It's like, well, there is no right or wrong way. I think sometimes we're so consumed by the idea that there's a right way to do something, there's a wrong way to do something. How do I benefit my mental health? What to do? It's like, it really is what's going to work best for you. Like there is no right or wrong way. There is no like, method of like, here are your steps of journaling. It really is what's going to work best for you and what you need at the time. So in a simple way, how I like to see it is it's a brain dump for me. Like there is no structure, there is no have tos, or like no commitments, no strings attached, but it's just a brain dump of what's going on in my head right now that's holding me back, that's probably draining me down. Because often when we keep all these thoughts in our head, it really bogs us down, right? You're carrying all these thoughts with you on a daily basis everywhere you go. They're in the back of your mind, and you can probably relate to, at times where you've had like a major kind of task to hand over at work or something get done, and when it's done, you just feel like there's this massive load like taken off you. And I think, our kind of thoughts and things that we have kind of like just in our heads that's probably like unsettling does the same thing. It really holds you down. And when you can just journal it out and just write it all out, just brain dump it onto a piece of paper, honestly, you get that same sort of feeling of being like, oh my god, something's been like lifted off my shoulders, and I just feel like 10 times lighter. I've lost like 10 kgs. So I think, with journaling, see it like that. Like it is a place, it's a safe place for you just to scribble down all your thoughts you have. Doesn't matter what you want to say, you're not saying it to anyone, like anything you want to say, just write it down, get it out of your head, because that is another way that you're really going to be able to benefit your mental health. And I think that's what journaling is for, right? Like benefiting how you feel mentally, getting all those thoughts just out of your head. You don't want anything stored up there if not needed. Now, in terms of journaling prompts, I do think sometimes it is helpful to just at least have a few things that can get you started into just thinking a bit more, because sometimes, again, I think in life we don't have that much time to sit down and just be like, how am I doing? Really kind of sit with your thoughts. So a few questions that I like to do. So I've got my journal here actually. Such a pretty color as well. It's just like a nude, but yeah. Is it a color or a shade? But basically, this is like all my journaling. Hopefully you can't read it because it is top secret. But yeah, no, it's like a soft cover as well. It doesn't matter what kind of journal you get. I'm digressing, but I just really love my journal. It's just so pretty. But how I sometimes like to start things off, especially if I know that I'm kind of feeling bogged down but I just don't know where to begin, I ask myself, how am I feeling today? I sit there and I'm like, how am I feeling today? And you know, I don't think this is a question that you just ask yourself when you're journaling, but I think it's a question that you should be asking yourself a lot more often, even just in the mornings when you get up. How are you? How are you doing? Okay, and it's funny because I was talking to my nail technician about this, and this is actually something I want to record for my podcast for my community and my clients. Basically, I just released this like private podcast, and it's super exciting because I love speaking to my clients, and this is just a way that I can speak to all of them at once. But anyways, I was getting my nails done, and I was talking to my nail technician, and I was like, you know, we were talking about mental health, and I was like, I think people don't actually check in with themselves enough. And she was like, what do you mean by that? And I was like, well, when you think about it, when we meet our friends or when we see our family members again, when we see our, you know, people we care about, the first thing literally we ask is, how are you? Right? How's your day been? How's your week been? How was your weekend? How's life? We ask all these questions just naturally because it's just because we care, right? We want to know, how are you doing? But when was the last time we asked that to ourselves? Probably really. Like, we probably really actually sit there and be like, hey, Chinyang, how are you doing? You know? How's your life been? How's your weekend been? How has your week been? How are you feeling? And because we don't do that, we never actually give ourselves the opportunity to kind of sit in our thoughts and our feelings and to really kind of think about how we are doing at this present time. And you know, the only time we actually kind of recognize what's going on is when it's too late, when we're really just feeling freaking depressed, or when, you know, we're just really struggling. We're like, holy crap, this is how I feel right now. How am I feeling? Absolute shit. But we don't ask ourselves this during the week just to check in on ourselves. So I think a great way to even stay accountable to that is just journaling, and maybe once a week even, just being like, if I have like 10 minutes in the morning, I'm gonna sit down and just like get my book out and just be like, how am I doing? And you don't have to have like a bazillion things to write out. Like, you don't have to have a crazy, like, interesting life and be like, dear diary, like, look at all the stuff that's happened this week, like, this is how I'm feeling, like, all these emotions. No, you could simply be like, you know, I'm doing pretty good right now. How am I feeling? I'm doing good. I feel a bit overwhelmed because of these certain things, but life's been really wholesome. Cool, what's made it wholesome? And then you can kind of continue just kind of exploring these different avenues, like, well, what's made it wholesome? XYZ things. Actually, I started maybe meditating, or I started going for morning walks, or I started seeing my friends a bit more. I started scheduling fun in on my weekends, and because of that, actually, I am feeling a lot better. My life has been a lot more wholesome, but I guess I didn't realize it was these things that actually made it better. And now that I've realized that, I'm going to make sure that I continue implementing that, right? So I think that awareness is really important regardless of whether you're doing well or not well. If you're doing really well, that awareness allows you to understand, well, what things in your life or habits that you've done have made you come to this place. And if you're not doing so well, well, then again, it gives you that time and opportunity to recognize, well, what are the things that I'm perhaps doing or not doing that's making me feel this way, and what should I do moving forwards to prevent myself from continuing to feel this way or to feel even worse. So definitely asking yourself, how am I doing today? Now, another thing I think is so beneficial about just kind of checking in with yourself is it's really nice to read back on your journal. I remember when I just got back to Auckland, things were a bit hectic. Like, I just mentally was in a bit of a rut because there was a lot of change going on, and again, like, I was just going through this like existential crisis of what I wanted, what value to me. If you guys have seen some of my recent videos, you know that I've decided to stop competing just through a lot of different reasons: social life, personal life, health, where I see myself in 10-20 years time, my business, things that, you know, bring me a lot more value than competing. I just did not see how it could bring me any more value, but that's something I really struggled with for a very long time because I kind of have my identity to that. And it's funny because now when I read back, I'm so grateful that I wrote these things down in my journal, because it just kind of reminded me, like, oh my god, that's how I felt during that time. And you kind of almost watch yourself discover these things and these realizations, because, you know, I wrote down so many things of being like, okay, like, yeah, this is going to be really deep, and yeah, like, I'm completely fine, but this is how I genuinely felt at the time. So this was like March, yeah, the start of March. So I was seeing a therapist at the time, still seeing my therapist, but I wrote down like, hey, I feel really fucking sad. I'm not going to go into details of why, but there was a lot of things in regarding to just being so lost with what I wanted to do, feeling like I was attached to this old me that was no longer this new me, a lot of different things. And it's just really, I think, just valuable being able to read back on that, because not only does it kind of remind you of how you felt and where you are now, but it also kind of shows you that you really can change how you feel within like a month's time, 2 months time. Like life changes so quickly. It's like a roller coaster. And if currently right now you're in a bit of a pickle, but no, if you're feeling a bit shit with everything going on and you're not doing so well mentally, just know that you've had better days, right? And that's going to come again. And I think that reminder kind of allows you to appreciate a bit more like, okay, right now I am in not the best place possible, but there is hope because I have always been able to get myself out of it. And I know that because I can see that this has happened before. And then you can kind of see like, well, what did I do last time that helped me? So I think that's really, really helpful. Now, another thing that I kind of have done as well in my journaling is what have I realized this week? So sometimes, sometimes during your week, you may kind of go through experiences or conversations with people even, and you're like, wow, that really kind of struck something in me. Like that really hit the nail on the head. Like, wow, that was a really good realization. I think it's always valuable to write that down because, you'll forget over time, and it's nice looking back and be like, oh, okay, so this is what I said in January, March, April. I still count with my fingers for the months, guys. Don't judge me. But mid-April, I wrote down. So I think this was just before I realized that perhaps I didn't want to compete anymore. Therapy made me realize a few things today. One, I want more dimensions in my life. I want to do more, experience more things. I don't want my whole life to be just work and bodybuilding, because that's really what it's been for the last like 2.5 years. And I realized, like, when I think about, well, when I meet people and I'm like, oh, what do you like to do? I'm like, all I can say is just these two things. And obviously they were big parts of my life, and I love my business still. That's still going to be the first thing I say. And they're going to be like, oh, psycho. But I was like, I do want more dimensions in my life, and that's something I've really integrated for the last few months. Like, I've gotten back into playing my guitar. I've gotten into like paint by numbers. I'm taking time out for myself to kind of realize how important it is to look after my own energy, setting a bit more boundaries, because I know that when I can do that, I can actually show up better in the areas of my life that I care about. So for example, with work, I honestly, like, I used to have the mentality of like, I'll sleep when I'm dead and all that stuff, like grind, hustle. And like, don't get me wrong, I don't think you can have balance, like ultimate balance, and I don't think that you can completely just say, oh, I'm not going to completely just grind my way out for a few years. Like, I do think that's necessary if you're trying to do something extraordinary. I do think that's necessary, and that's what I've done for the last like 2.5 years. But once you get to a point where things have been set up and you are in a good place, I think it's also very important for you to kind of be able to click out of it and be like, okay, cool, that was my grinding phase of no balance, and that was my sacrifice phase, and I was happy with that. But I did that so that I could have a bit more balance and, have a bit more life as well. And it's important that you recognize when you are in that position and to take up on that. And that's kind of what I've been trying to focus on the last few months, and it really has helped my mental health so much. Like, even the way I can kind of find myself with my business, I'm like, oh, there's all these different things I've always wanted to do, and I've kind of always kind of pushed him back. Like, even with the internal podcast, I said I'd do it in like January, like last year. I was like, next year I'm gonna start doing a podcast with my clients, and because my energy was just so zapped out on the daily, I just couldn't get myself to do it. Like, it was so hard. Whereas now it's like, when you have this different energy, when you're giving yourself time, you're able to actually put in more towards things that you care about. So I think that's quite important. And then, yeah, number 2, what I wrote down was, not every day has to be filled with this grand purpose. There is beauty in sitting still, because that's something, again, I've just struggled with so much. And I talked to my therapist about this as well, and she was like, why do you always feel like you constantly have to be productive every single second of every single day? Like, do you have a day off? And I'm like, no. But I'm like, but I enjoy my work, so I don't need a day off. She's like, yes, but do you feel like you could benefit from just having even maybe not a day off, but just an hour of stillness each week for yourself? And I was like, I struggle with that idea. Like, if I don't do anything in that hour, what is the point of my life? That really, again, just like was like, wow, okay, actually that's something I never thought about, like that there is beauty in stillness. And again, like, I think that comes down to being a bit more present and asking yourself, how are you doing? That is stillness, right? And again, that's helped me so much with my mental health. Sorry if I'm just going through my own journaling now, but I think that these points are quite valuable and they have helped me, so I hope they help you. And then I said, again, I need to stop procrastinating things outside of work and gym. There are things I've always wanted to do with my life, but I just end up not being bothered. And, how can I know whether I enjoy something or not if I don't even give it a try? So again, I wrote down guitar, like, I want to pick this up again, and I just kept putting it back because I was like, I don't have time, I'm not going to enjoy it again. I'm really loving it. But it's just that, I guess, like, procrastination of doing anything else I deemed wasn't I guess, productive. So that's something I've been trying to like work on myself. And then, you know, again, like my whys. So another thing I think is really beneficial with journaling, again, see, there's absolutely no structure with how I journal, but something I told my clients to do was write a letter to yourself of your whys, of, you know, why you're doing XYZ things. If you're working on a fitness goal, what is your why? If you're trying to build a business, what is your why? Because you are going to reach days where things are challenging. You're going to have days where you want to give up. And that's when you kind of want to read back on that, you know, letter that you've written yourself for your future self, and to remind yourself, well, that was my why, right? So I wrote down for my whys, my business, I want to impact and change lives. I want to be an inspiring female entrepreneur. I want to leave a legacy behind, to know that I have really, you know, changed someone's life in a positive way, that they've been able to positively influence those around them as well. So the fact that I can impact someone positively in a way that they can positively impact people around them in their circle, I think that's awesome. I think that's such a, I know that's like I think a very important thing in life, like knowing that when you work on yourself and you become better and then you help someone else become better, it's like a trickle effect. They then help other people around them and they inspire others. And then I want to create a job that offers opportunities for other females whilst, yeah, so a lot of different things as to what my why is there. Yeah, so I think that's also helpful. So if you guys are working on any goals, even if it's your fitness goals, remind yourself of your why, you know, like I want to, my why is, for example, it could be I want to be a better mother, and I know that to become a better mother, I need to be a good role model so that my children grow up, you know, implementing habits that I would have wanted for myself earlier on, which means that I need to shop on the days I don't want to. I'm going to get my workouts done even when I don't want to, because I know that my children are aware of whether I shop or not for myself, right? I'm going to make sure that I cook dinner instead of ordering in, because my children are going to probably replicate my behaviors when they're older. And if they grow up with their mother always just neglecting their own nutrition, even just ordering in or skipping meals, and or, you know, I don't know, just having a really bad relationship with food, they're going to see that, and that's going to become almost like a norm for them. So it's about like asking, well, what is your bigger why? Okay, because I think, you know, ultimately there is so much more to, say, your fitness goals than just, oh, I just want to see a particular number on the scale, or I want to lose some weight. But it's like, well, why do you want to lose weight, right? Because you want to feel more confident. Well, why do you want to feel more confident? Because you know it's going to positively impact your life, and you're going to be able to show up better. You're going to be able to take up on job opportunities. You're going to be able to walk into a room and want to be seen. You're going to love shopping for yourself, shopping for others. You're going to love, you know, just experiencing life to the fullest. That is your why, right? You want to lose weight because you want to be healthier, because you want to live a long and healthy life so that you can be around for your children for longer. You can be around the people you love for longer. You can go and travel and do hikes and explore the world without getting tired or feeling like you have to skip out of those things, and experience life to its fullest. That is your why. So write it down, because on those days when you're like, I cannot be asked, it is cold, I don't want to get to gym, I just want to have a whole bag of cookies right now. You read that and you're like, right, okay, do I want the whole bag of cookies more, or do I want to live a long, healthy life more? Which one matters more to me? Because yeah, maybe the cookie is something I'm going to receive instant gratification from right now, but if I can live a long, healthy life, that's going to give me like gratification for the rest of my life, right? That's going to bring so much value in 10, 20, 30 years time. Whereas the cookies, they're going to digest and then be pooped out in like a day or two. So just kind of like putting that into perspective, I think is really important. So those are kind of, I guess, like my top tips on journaling. So one, just don't put so much pressure and overwhelm on yourself to be journaling at frequent intervals, or to feel like there needs to be some sort of structure. It really is a brain dump, and whatever's going on in your head, whatever you want to explore, use that as your journaling prompt. Number two, asking yourself and checking in with yourself. How are you feeling? How are you today? How's your week been? A great way to start journaling when you are just kind of lost and there's too much going on and you just want a simple way to start writing. Once you put the pen on your paper and you start writing, it's just going to flow. And then number three is writing down anything during the week that has really kind of, you know, been like, oh wow, that was a big kind of like, that was a what's it called, like a mental breakthrough or something that's really resonated. Write it down so that your future self can look back on it. So those are kind of how I like to kind of go through with my journaling. Now, in terms of resetting, this is stuff that I love and it's really helped me as well. Just very small tips. So with resetting, a few things that I've been doing that have really helped me through my kind of mental, you know, struggles at times is, number one, your environment matters so much. So making your bed first thing in the morning, opening up your blinds, just having some time to look outside. If it's dark, then look into the dark, but open up your blinds, make your bed, and just make your room nice and neat before you leave, I think is just it sounds like, oh, whatever, I don't have time for that. Or, you know, when you're feeling in a mental rut, that's the last thing you want to do, right? Clean, you kind of become messier just naturally. But if you can maintain your environment, honestly, it's going to help you so much. Because just like when you look at a clean environment, it makes you feel at peace, it makes you feel relaxed. When you look at, say, your bedroom that's completely messy, especially when you come back at night, how does it leave you feeling? Like probably a bit like, oh, like this is the environment I'm coming back to. So number one, making your bed in the morning. Number two is actually picking out an outfit to wear, okay? So if you're someone who was like me, I just always wore my gym clothes or like my lounge wear and my sweatpants because I work from home anyways, no one sees me unless I'm making content. Like I could walk around naked, no one would see, but I would just wear my fat pants. And I think, yeah, that's fine on days, but sometimes it does make you feel a bit like, a bit lethargic. It makes you feel a bit more like mentally just a bit drained. So I think, you know, adding some excitement to your day, I think it's a form of like self-care to be like, what should I wear today? You know, look at your wardrobe, pick out an outfit, make it fun, you know, make your day start off fun by doing that. And I think that can, again, really help you get out of that sort of like, just like fog, like mental fog that you can find yourself in, especially if you are now working from home, which is often the case for a lot of people now just due to COVID. It can be, again, really easy to kind of lose that routine of, oh, I'm gonna get dressed for work, what am I wearing today, you know, that little kind of excitement in life. And I think it's so beautiful just adding any sort of excitement you can find into the daily things you do in life. So definitely number two, finding a nice outfit to wear for the day and just dressing up, putting your makeup on if that makes you feel good, doing your hair before you get started for work. Now the next thing is hydration. So make sure to have 1 glass of water in the mornings. Now, how does this benefit your mental health, you may ask? It literally just makes your body feel so refreshed and good. And when your body's feeling better, your mind is going to feel better. You know, I always say that your mental health and your physical health come hand in hand. So if you start the morning and you're groggy and you're like, oh, I just need some coffee, it probably doesn't feel great, right? So just try to like push back your coffee first thing in the morning, have a glass of water, and just feel how refreshing it is to just feel the water go into you, because naturally when you wake up, you're going to be quite dehydrated. You lose around 1 liter of water during the night. So, you know, naturally you are going to need to fill up on fluids. So just actually feel how good it feels to have water first thing in the morning rather than coffee, and actually hydrate yourself. And it's going to do wonderful things for your skin, ladies. So benefit there as well. Now, the next thing is fresh air. Again, you know when you wake up and your room just feels a bit like the air's a bit because it's been enclosed all night. You know, you want to go and just grab some fresh air, even if that's like 1 minute of just opening your door or your window and just feeling the breeze outside. It really is going to help you so much with your mental health because it gives you that clarity. It kind of, again, freshens you up. It wakes you up in a really nice and natural way. And this may sound very like woohoo, like, oh, like nature, but nature's great. Like, it really does benefit your mental state so much. Like, you know, think about the last time you walked through, I don't know, a field, like you walked on grass, or you walked through trees and like a forest or something, maybe not a forest, but you just walked in around nature. How did you feel? I really doubt that you would have been through that and been like, oh, I felt more depressed. Like, you probably felt so just like refreshed and recharged. So same thing with like in the mornings, the fresh air. Make sure you get some fresh air before you start your day. Don't start your day right off with work. That's what I used to do. Didn't work for me. I just felt so like, yeah, it not great. Your work can wait for like 1 minute to just go and get some fresh air, or just wake up a little bit earlier and just get some fresh air on your face, on your skin. Look after yourself, because you know how you perform in areas of your life is going to be dictated on how you perform yourself, like how you show up and this kind of body of yours. You are the vehicle, right? To actually get anywhere far, you need to make sure that the vehicle is looked after. So look after yourself and give yourself that time in the morning to get some fresh air. Now, the final thing is with a reset. I think, again, environment. In the evening, a great way to wind down is just making sure that your kitchen and your lounge is nice and clean, so that when you leave and you come back in the morning, you wake up to a clean countertop. No kind of food scraps, crumbs, packages lying around. Everything is nice and neat. Imagine waking up to that. How nice would it feel to have a fresh, clean kitchen and to get started with your day in a very clean slate? So again, I know that when we are struggling, or you know, perhaps we're just in a mental rut, it's so easy to let these little like personal standards drop. But you'll find that when those start dropping, your mental health actually plummets even more, because it's all interconnected. So make sure that, you know, in the evening, as a way to wind down, put your phone away and slowly just clean your environment. Make sure your place is nice and clean. It's, you know, it's ready for you in the morning, and that's really, again, going to help how you feel in the morning. And when you go to bed, you're going to feel good. You're like, oh, I've cleaned everything, like everything is put into place and I'm ready for bed. I've wrapped up the day. So I think that is also very, very important. So guys, I hope that this was helpful and I hope that you got to take away some, you know, journaling tips and also reset tips. Honestly, your mental health and your physical health do come hand in hand. It's what I tell all my clients, and you know, like, it's so much easier to show up for yourself when mentally you're feeling good, right? You've probably been there before where if you've had something happen to you and mentally you're not feeling great, it's so much harder to stick to nutrition, to actually go and, you know, move your body. So make sure you are prioritizing your mental health, your downtime, checking in with yourself, just as much as you're prioritizing the importance of, you know, physical exercise, gym, or, you know, your workouts and your nutrition, because they do come hand in hand. Now, if you found this useful, make sure to just drop a comment below of, you know, what really resonated with you, perhaps what you're going to try out, even perhaps what's helped you on your journey in terms of your mental health and your lifestyle, because I'm sure that we could all really benefit from each other's input. You know, just build up this community. Let's kind of help each other out with our own experiences. I think that's always really, just throwing around my necklace, I think that's also really valuable. Other than that, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like, because it really does support my channel. Subscribe if you are new here. If you haven't joined the Instagram family, that's cz.fit on Instagram. Would absolutely love to have you there. And I am also taking on some more clients next month. So if you are interested in joining the best community ever, and I don't say that lightly, the most supportive, badass community of ladies all around the world who are working on their fitness goals, but beyond that, they're working on themselves, like who they are as individuals, how they're showing up, because again, it's so much more than just your fitness. It's literally like a whole personal development journey that they're on, and it's freaking epic to see. If you are interested in any of that, make sure to flick me a DM over on Instagram with coaching or anything else you prefer, however you want to message, and I would absolutely love to just speak with you, just get to know you, see if you're a good fit for the community, if I can help you, and then we can get you started on your own journey ahead. Other than that, I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your week. Enjoy some downtime, enjoy checking in on yourself. Please make sure to do that after watching this, and have a lovely rest of, I've already said that. I will see you guys in the next video, and yeah, have a lovely rest of your days until then. Bye.